Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. India conveys request along with relevant supporting documents to Pakistan to extradite the 2611 mastermind to New Delhi to face trial. Hafiz Saeed is also a UN-proscribed terrorist. India's External Affairs Ministry reacts on the Qatar court commuting death sentence of 8 Indians, says that the interests of their family members is the country's foremost concern. After Colorado, Maine bars Donald Trump from running for president in 2024 for his role in the Capitol riot case. Tripartite accord signed between Indian government, northeastern Indian state Assam and the United Liberation Front of Assam to shun violence and join the mainstream. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Ayodhya on Saturday to inaugurate, dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects aimed at boosting infrastructure in the Indian temple town. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs held its weekly press conference in New Delhi on Friday. The spokesperson cleared the air on the recent developments in the Dahar Global case in Qatar, the extradition of UN-proscribed terrorist Hafiz Saeed, and the upcoming general elections in Bangladesh, among other subjects.
जो सेंटेंस है उसको रिड्यूस किया गया है.
In a big development, the Qatari court commuted death sentence of 8 Indians. In follow-up to that verdict, India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that sentences have been reduced and the team will be discussing the next possible steps with the legal team and the family members.
This case is now in the court of appeal, as it's called. And there have been 3 hearings in the Qatar Court of Appeal. November 23rd, November 30th, and December 7th. Meanwhile, our ambassador in Doha got consular access, mentioned that last time we met, to meet all the 8 men on December 3rd. This is an important issue that we are following, and you know that how we can get our people back to India soon, at the earliest. That is what is driving us.
Answering a question on the extradition request to Pakistan for Hafiz Saeed, the ministry said that India has conveyed a request to the government of Pakistan to extradite him to India.
Participate in elections is something perhaps I should comment on. We have seen some reports in this regard. It is an internal affair, so let me not comment on it. But the mainstreaming of radical terrorist outfits in Pakistan is nothing new. On our part, we will of course continue to monitor all developments that have an implication on our national security. He is also a UN-proscribed terrorist. In this regard, we have conveyed a request, along with relevant supporting documents, to the government of India to extradite him, government of Pakistan, to extradite him to India to face trial in a particular case. I think that is what you were referring to. So yes, we have of course been flagging the issue of activities that he's been wanted for. In this case, you specifically mentioned whether we wanted to extradite him. Yes, there has been a request sent.
On the aircraft grounded in France with Indian passengers on board that recently returned to India, the ministry said that few Indians have stayed back and the matter is being dealt by French authorities. On the situation in the Red Sea, MES spokesperson said that India values the free movement of commercial shipping but is not part of any multilateral initiative or operation in or around the Red Sea.
We value the free movement of commercial shipping, which is one of the fundamental principles underpinning global commerce. We are carefully evaluating all aspects of the unfolding situation in that region. Our defense forces are taking necessary measures in this regard, and in that context, I would also like to say I'm not in agreement whether we are in a position to defend or not. But I'm not aware that India is part of any multilateral initiative or operation presently in or around the Red Sea.
The ministry also reiterated its stand on the upcoming general elections in Bangladesh and said that elections are the domestic matter of Bangladesh. And as a friend and close partner of Bangladesh, India would like to see peaceful and fair elections there. Meghna Dev's report, DD India.
The New York Times had on Wednesday filed a lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft over alleged copyright infringement. There are a number of issues under the hood of artificial intelligence that need to be examined. This story puts it all into context. The New York Times earlier this week sued OpenAI and Microsoft. The suit is expected to have widespread implications on the limits of artificial intelligence. NYT believes OpenAI has used millions of its newspaper articles without permission to train chatbots to provide information to readers. This is the first major US media organization to sue OpenAI and Microsoft over the output of popular AI applications ChatGPT and Bing Chat, now known as Copilot. Earlier, many writers and content creators, too, had wanted to limit the manner in which AI services scrape their online content without compensation. Among the concerns are that chatbots make it harder for readers to distinguish fact from fiction. The NYT says plenty of information is falsely attributed to the newspaper.
We do not have the kind of ethics infrastructure or oversight infrastructure or even the public education to respond to the fact that we can now create a bunch of artificial entities that put information out there. They just pollute or can pollute our information ecosystem. And it's not just that we don't have the tools to fight that. People aren't quite prepared. Like, we see this all the time when people go to use ChatGPT for something and then are surprised when it hallucinates.
NYT says this is a free ride on its massive investment in journalism. The Times lawsuit cited several instances in which OpenAI and Microsoft chatbots gave users near verbatim excerpts of its articles. These included a Pulitzer Prize-winning 2019 series on predatory lending in New York City's taxi industry, and Pete Wells' 2012 review of Guy Fieri's since-closed Guy's American Kitchen and Bar that became a viral sensation. Earlier, famous courtroom drama novelist John Grisham joined other novelists in suing OpenAI and Microsoft in a Manhattan court, claiming that AI systems might have co-opted tens of thousands of their books. In July, too, comedian Sarah Silverman and other authors had sued OpenAI and Meta Platforms in San Francisco for having ingested their works. A judge dismissed most of that case in November, which is a likely precedent.
So this is the year that AI really went viral, that people began to encounter for the first time general-purpose AI tools on a really global scale. And they're quite dazzling, which is why they've taken off so much. But I think in the conversations that I've had with people, they very often misunderstand what they're seeing. And in particular, they imagine that there's a mind on the other side of the conversation, which absolutely is not true. So to really understand this technology and to have a healthy relationship with it, we've really got to understand a little bit about what's going on under the hood.
OpenAI and Microsoft argue that using copyright works to train AI products amounts to fair use. The New York Times wants OpenAI and Microsoft to destroy chatbot models and training sets that incorporate its material. The New York Times estimates damages in billions of dollars. It is, after all, a 172-year-old newspaper. With agency inputs, Bureau Report, DD India. Is there a chance of a peace plan between Israel and Palestine? Now, Egypt seems to think that it's possible. DD India's Trent Murray has more.
As the Israel-Hamas armed conflict rages on, the Israeli military has expanded its ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in areas of the central and southern Gaza Strip. Hectic parleys are underway to formulate a peace plan. On Thursday, Egypt confirmed that it had put forward a framework proposal to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip that includes 3 stages ending with a ceasefire, and said it was awaiting responses on the plan.
Diplomats hoping there could be a resolution here, that there could be a breakthrough, but it's very difficult to see. We understand there is a 3 part framework that's been put in place, effectively a 2-week ceasefire in order for hostages to be released, then a discussion about who governs Gaza after the conflict, and then thirdly, a complete end to the hostilities. Now, Hamas representatives have travelled to Cairo today to take part in the discussions. We don't have all of the details of the plan, but already some media in the Arab-speaking world is saying Hamas has rejected that plan. You'd also have to get Israel to sign on to it, which will be difficult given the divisions within the government here. I suppose going into 2024, one can be optimistic that at least the negotiations are taking place at Cairo, and also Doha is trying to find a path forward here.
On the other hand, Israeli youth led by Israeli scouts from Kibbutz Kfar Aza rallied on Thursday in an effort to press the Israeli government and the international community to demand the hostages' immediate release. The young Israelis have marched from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem for the past 5 days for the release of hostages that were kidnapped during October 7th attack and are still being held in Gaza.
We came here from Tel Aviv to the Knesset. We want to support and bring back all the kids, women, men, and teenagers. We want to bring them back to Israel and to their homes. We're here to put pressure on our Knesset, and we want them back.
I came here to be one of the teenagers who support the hostages from the back and ask the government of Israel to release the hostages.
This intense fighting began after Hamas launched an unprecedented assault on Israel on the 7th of October this year, with hundreds of gunmen infiltrating communities near the Gaza Strip. About 1,200 people were killed, while the Israeli military says more than 200 soldiers and civilians, including women and children, were taken to Gaza as hostages. Trent Murray's report for DD India from Tel Aviv.
At least 18 people have been killed and hundreds injured in cities across Ukraine, including in the capital Kiev. A warehouse and a high-rise building in Kiev were severely damaged by missile strikes. Many people are still feared trapped under the debris, and casualties were reported at a maternity hospital in central Ukraine. In a social media message, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia had fired nearly 110 missiles, 87 of which were shot down. The attacks occurred days after Ukraine targeted a Russian warship in the occupied Crimean port of Feodosia. And now Dasha Chernyshova reports from Moscow.
Russian Ministry of Defense says Russian troops carried out more than 50 strikes and one massive strike with high-precision weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles on military facilities of the armed forces of Ukraine, including airfields and arsenals. The ministry adds that it also hit the storage areas, including artillery ammunition, unmanned boats, weapons and fuel for military equipment. Moscow regularly says that it is hitting only military targets in Ukraine. Earlier this week, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that in 2023, Russian troops have successfully carried out one of the main tasks, stopping a Ukrainian counteroffensive, and that they are now advancing almost from all directions. Shoigu also reported to President Vladimir Putin that Russian troops have full control over the town of Marinka in the Donetsk region. Hours after that report, Russia's MOD admitted that a Ukrainian strike on a Crimean port city of Feodosia killed one person, injured another 4, and damaged a large landing warship called Novocherkassk. The warship was capable of transporting tanks and armored vehicles. Commenting on the latest supply of military aid to Ukraine, Russian ambassador to the United States Anatoly Antonov said that the US administration cannot help but see the success of the Russian soldiers. And he promised that all NATO equipment and ammunition will be burned and destroyed in Ukraine. Dasha Chernyshova in Moscow, reporting for DD India.
Well, still to come here on DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Ayodhya on Saturday. A major development towards lasting peace in Assam. And there are fog alerts in Delhi.
Sir, try berry pulao. Too good. Good, no? Hey, why are you giving him such looks? Ignore tips and use your own mind before you order. Lots of people give unsolicited stock tips. It can be dangerous. Study the company and the risk associated. Invest only after analysis.
Do you know there's an investor protection fund for investors, IPF, but if your trade isn't executed on the exchange or if it's some guaranteed return scheme, then even IPF will not be able to help you.
And what if your broker becomes a defaulter? Then?
In that case, IPF can provide you with compensation.
Where did you learn this?
NSE's website.
India has gone through a paradigm shift in 2023. Large-scale projects have changed its infrastructural landscape. A network of zipping trains connect remote regions. Architects and engineers have built mammoth structure. Swanky, gleaming airports dot the nation. Waterways connect towns and ports, boosting business. Multimodal projects and SEZs bolster the economy, giving a tangible shape to the country's aspirations of becoming a global economic hub. Watch an exclusive roundup, New India's infrastructure push in 2023, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. The Maine election officials, what have they done? They've disqualified the former US President Donald Trump from the presidential primary ballot there. Mihir Makuri elaborates.
Former US President Donald Trump suffered a major setback on Thursday when Maine's top election official disqualified Trump from the state ballot in next year's US presidential primary election. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, a Democrat, said Trump was ineligible due to his conduct leading up to the 2021 US Capitol riot. With this, Maine has now joined Colorado to ban former US President Donald Trump from the ballot. Colorado Republicans, on the other hand, have petitioned the United States Supreme Court to intervene. Surprisingly, California made the opposite conclusion on the same day as the announcement in Maine. California's Secretary of State finalized the list of candidates for the ballot, which includes Donald Trump. Colorado ruling applies only to the state's Republican primary, which will take place on 5th March. Colorado's Supreme Court temporarily stayed its ruling until 4th January. Colorado is no longer a swing state. Other state courts have ruled against the plaintiffs. In Michigan, a judge ruled that Congress, not the courts, should make the call. It is unclear whether the court might rule on narrow procedural and technical grounds. Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican 2024 presidential nomination, is expected to file his own appeal. The state high court had put its decision on hold until 4th January, stating that Trump would remain on the ballot if he appealed. Mihir Makuri's report for DD India.
Well, the holy city of Ayodhya in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh is set to receive a big boost in air and rail connectivity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ayodhya on the 30th of December 2023. He's going to inaugurate a host of projects aimed at making the town better prepared to handle the huge anticipated rush of pilgrims in the future. DD India's Ravi Daman reports.
The city of Ayodhya has its own historical, religious and cultural importance. On 30th of December, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take an important step that will make this city realize the infrastructure connectivity potential it surely needs and deserves. For in coming weeks, months and years hereafter, this city is going to witness an influx of thousands and thousands of tourists, devotees and pilgrims.
Ayodhya witnessed hectic activity on December 29th as the city made last-minute preparations for the Prime Minister's visit. Roads were decked up with flowers and security agencies did the mock drills for the all-important visit. Prime Minister's visit will herald a new era of enhanced connectivity for this historic town. It will bring gifts of connectivity, civic and developmental projects for this town. Prime Minister will first inaugurate the redeveloped Ayodhya railway station and flag off new Amrit Bharat trains and Vande Bharat trains. The railway station has been renamed as Ayodhya Dham Junction. The station, with a blend of temple architecture and modern amenities, will be a major boon for thousands of pilgrims that come to that temple town every year. The new terminal will cater to the increased rush anticipated in not too distant future.
The main road leading to the entrance of the railway station and to the main lobby rivals that of any international airport. The outside architecture is based on the Nagara temple style, and it is fully complemented by modern facilities and amenities that will be available to the passengers once they arrive in this railway station. So come 2024, all the pilgrims and visitors coming to Ayodhya are set for a pleasant surprise.
Prime Minister will thereafter inaugurate the newly built Ayodhya airport. The airport is a sight to behold, a perfect blend of temple architecture depicting the rich history of the place and passenger amenities comparable to the best in the world. Prime Minister will also address a huge gathering right outside the airport. There he will inaugurate, dedicate to the nation and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth more than 15,700 crores in the state. These include projects worth about 11,100 crore for the development of Ayodhya and its surrounding areas, and projects worth about 4,600 crore related to other projects across the state of Uttar Pradesh.
The workers here in Ayodhya are braving the elements to deck the city and welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi and thousands of others who are coming to Ayodhya to make it indeed a memorable day in the history of this city. With cameraman SP Dubey, this is Ravi Dhiman in Ayodhya for DD India.
A dense fog has engulfed parts of India's capital, Delhi. It happened on Friday, causing a delay and cancellation of several trains. The fog conditions at the Indira Gandhi International Airport improved significantly afterwards, and the lowest visibility recorded at 150 meters, while the runway visual range was at a range of 400 meters to 800 meters. But the local weather agency has predicted the minimum temperature will hover around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius over the next 5 days. A rare red warning for dense fog on Friday has been issued by the Weather Department, the highest level of alert seldom utilized. DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya reports.
A thick layer of fog engulfed the national capital yet again on Friday morning, impacting the flights and train operations. As per the latest update by the Northern Railways, several trains, including the Rajdhani Express on Delhi-Howrah route, are running late. Many flights have also been delayed due to fog, which has resulted in low visibility in Delhi and surrounding areas. A red alert has been issued for dense fog in Delhi, Punjab and Haryana today, while an orange alert has been issued in these states for tomorrow. As per Indian Meteorological Department, it has predicted that dense to very dense fog conditions are very likely to continue in many parts of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi and some parts of Uttar Pradesh till the morning of December 30th, and in some parts for subsequent 3 to 4 days. With camera person Naveen, this is Tapas Bhattacharya reporting for DD India from Delhi.
Well, as many people around the world ring in the festive season, several places have been faced with extreme weather. They are continuing to face that. It is, after all, the height of the winter and the height of the summer, depending on where you are. You're seeing heat waves, floods and bushfires, as well as cold weather. Countries from the north to south are witnessing these extreme conditions.
The United Kingdom saw heavy damage as Storm Gerrit brought strong winds on Thursday. The storm also caused travel disruption. The UK's Meteorological Office is forecasting more heavy rain to come this weekend, followed by snow. In the United States, California is hit by storms, triggering massive waves of 28 to 33 feet on its coast on Friday. Flooding has led to evacuation orders in several areas of Northern California. Meteorologists have warned that worse is yet to come. South America's Peru is also ravaged by floods following heavy rains in the northeastern region of Loreto. Australia is battling twin troubles. The country's north and west is bracing for intense heat wave, prompting authorities to raise bushfire risks, with several regions under total fire bans. Severe storms in the east has already left 10 people dead, and thunderstorms are expected to redevelop. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, floods and landslides caused by torrential rain has killed at least 40 people. According to UN climate experts, extreme rainfall is becoming more intense and frequent in Africa due to warming temperatures. Following weeks of record low sub-freezing temperatures, heavy fog and haze shrouded areas in China's Shanghai on Friday. The Central Meteorological Observatory issued its first red alert for fog since 2017.
In Budapest, the river Danube has surged over its banks, reaching its highest water levels in a decade, and heavy rain and snow, followed by mild weather. These have triggered early winter flooding, raising concerns also about the impact of climate change. DD India's Pablo Gutierrez reports from Budapest.
Budapest have declared a state of emergency after the water here in the Danube rose to its highest level since the devastating floods of 2013. As you can see, there is the Hungarian parliament. We are in the lower quay. The water has completely surpassed it, and it's flooded this street, which at this time would be typically filled with cars. Let me show you what's happening on this side. Authorities tell us that they have strengthened their defenses and activated emergency services to help if needed. The rising water is a big danger to properties by the river, so officials are advising residents to be careful and stay away from these areas. However, as you can see here, there are many onlookers at this moment. Now, the water peaked at around 6.93 meters. This is well below the water level that it reached 10 years ago when it was 8.91 meters. Now, there hasn't been any damages reported to the authorities here in Budapest. Pablo Gutierrez, DD India.
Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Serbian students began blocking a street in Belgrade on Friday as a sign of protest against the outcome of last week's election, which they claim was marred by irregularities. The students set up tents and blocked a road close to various government buildings in the Serbian capital. European shares advanced on Friday, with media and energy companies among the top gainers, setting the index up for strong yearly gains on hopes of a softer monetary policy from major central banks next year. France will have large number of police and soldiers deployed for this weekend's New Year celebrations because of the very high terrorist threat facing that country. Now, there would be around 90,000 police deployed across France, with 6,000 of them in Paris. Spain's newly appointed Economy Minister Carlos Cuipro has been sworn in his new post by King Felipe on Friday. The 43-year-old, who until now led the Treasury Department, is now set to head the European Investment Bank. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. We're going to be discussing issues involved with AI, allegedly, having copyright infringements. Submarine service is going to start to the ancient city of Dwarka. And transforming a small backyard into a hydroponic farm.
Sir, try berry pulao. Too good. Good, no? Hey, why are you giving him such looks? Ignore tips and use your own mind before you order. Lots of people give unsolicited stock tips. It can be dangerous. Study the company and the risk associated. Invest only after analyzing.
Do you know there's an investor protection fund for investors, IPF, but if your trade isn't executed on the exchange or if it's some guaranteed return scheme, then even IPF will not be able to help you.
And what if your broker becomes a defaulter then?
In that case, IPF can provide you with compensation.
Where did you learn this?
NSE's website.
You're watching DD India News Hour. My name is Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of our main stories. India conveys request along with relevant supporting documents to Pakistan to extradite the 2611 mastermind to New Delhi to face trial. Hafiz Saeed is also a UN-proscribed terrorist. After Colorado, Maine bars Donald Trump from running for president in the 2024 polls for his role in the Capitol riot case. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Ayodhya on Saturday to inaugurate and dedicate to the nation, laying the foundation stone as well of multiple development projects aimed at boosting infrastructure in the temple town. And going back to our major story on artificial intelligence and alleged copyright infringements, we are joined by Professor M.K. Datta, who is the director of Amity Center for Artificial Intelligence, joining us. Thank you, Professor Datta. Now, we are looking really at the legal issues here. So do you think, surveying of millions of articles and processing that information to answer some specific questions that one asks is a copyright infringement?
Okay, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. You see, these are the new challenges that has come up with the disruptive nature of artificial intelligence, because a couple of years back, this kind of issues were not in front of us. But then, if you look at either side, because the New York Times have claimed as a copyright violation and unethical usage of their media content, whereas most likely the OpenAI guys and the Microsoft guys, they might have the opinion that whatever available in free in the internet they have used to train the LLM. Now, mind you that, large language models, when they're training any data, perhaps sequential data or any sort of data, if they're training for any transformers, the more amount of data points they have, the more accurate the LLMs become. So either way, if you look into their arguments, maybe from the Microsoft side or from the New York Times side, it's so hard for me, or anyone to comment at that side, because these challenges are absolutely new. Now, if you talk about the police or the court of law or anywhere if you go, most likely you do not have clear-cut guidelines which may actually come to some kind of conclusions and give a decision. Because, I remember there's a guy called, Bengio, one of the top guys of Yeshua Bengio, one of the top guys in AI who was responsible for inventing deep learning technologies. He is of the opinion that at certain stage, we have reached a stage where most likely we need to a little bit stop on the disruptive nature of AI and sit back and frame the, we need to frame the legal issues, the frameworks, the ethical considerations.
So we've reached that stage where we have to start considering these things, is what you're saying. But Professor Datta, just to put this into context, I as a human, if I read NYT articles and then I talk about them, talk about what I read, is that a copyright infringement? In a sense, ChatGPT is doing the same thing.
It's once again, commercial angle has come into picture, because what New York Times is mentioning that, they have used that information to generate money. So till you are using it for a non-commercial application or a non-commercial models, most likely people won't mind. But then, and if you see the share market of, the way generative AI has gone very high, billions and millions of money they're making, So most likely, anybody having, that data and which was used as a training in that model, so it's hard to comment because legal framework is not available at this moment. It will be a challenge for the legal systems, the police, the entire judiciary system. But then when money is involved, business is involved, I think there is some logic in the petition made by, the suit filed by.
Sure. Right. Professor Datta, I mean, there have been some cases already that have been decided in this matter, similar cases, and they have been heard till now, and they seem to have been heading in the favor of AI, because the judges have found that there's not enough evidence to, convict. And they also say that there's no way to understand whether use of a particular data has been happened. I mean, after all, for one particular output, they may have used like hundreds of similar sets of data. You can't say this was only from NYT, things like that.
Exactly. Here comes, the other challenge. There's a component of AI which is unexplainable yet. If you cannot enforce into the nodes, if you cannot enforce into the models and actually go for a assessment whether your data was used or not. Finally, when the data are trained, we cannot actually enforce or observe the nodes in which the training was done. Most likely, what you said is correct. We cannot give a direct assessment or a direct some decision in favor of NYT or anyone else that your data was used, because there's so much of abundance of data in the web itself. So very hard to comment on that. And these challenges are absolutely new. 1 year back, most likely these challenges were not heard of. And I tell you, these things are going to erupt more and more because the disruptive nature of this technology is extremely, extremely high. And we should hear to people like Benjo, the guys who actually have invented this technology. They're very vocal about it.
Professor Datta, one of the other aspects that's part of this suit is that, the generative AI keeps hallucinating. I mean, it provides some misinformation and says that it's quoting X, Y, and Z. That's what, how does one actually stop that from happening?
Oh, either side. I mean, it's so hard for anyone. I'll tell you in this way. There were 3 people responsible for generating, making these deep learning models. One is Hinton, and the other is Benjo and Jan LeCun. These 3 guys, look into their opinions. They themselves are contradicting each other. Benjo is of the opinion that we should stop and we should go for ethical things, whereas Jan LeCun, he's telling that the disruptive nature and the innovation should not stop. So, but either way, if you look at, I mean, it's hard actually, and these are unprecedented times, testing times for the government, for the organizations, the agencies. Most likely, you need a big heart and open mind to sit down and resolve these kind of issues. And of course, if you ask me, the disruptive nature of this technology should not be stopped at all. In the wider, in the wider interest of humanity, this technology should be used. We should not curb the development of this technology at all.
Professor Datta, can a chatbot giving authentic, useful information, I mean, after all the corrections are being made to it, actually help the copyright holder? It makes them more popular after all. If I read something through ChatGPT, I might go to the original sources after that, just to, expand my knowledge, to go back and figure out what the real people are saying. And ChatGPT, or the chatbot can actually recommend it as well in its answer.
Yes, one way of doing it is that, most likely if they can send an acknowledgement or a line of, I don't know, how much is it possible, because let's say you ask a question to ChatGPT and it answers you, let's say with 500 words answer. At a certain stage, if it is possible that, it gives the acknowledgement of the sources from which these answers are picked. But of course, technology-wise, it's very hard. But what I said is correct, because in a way, let's say in ChatGPT, they ask something and my name comes up, that M.K. Datta is the one who did it. So obviously, I am being highlighted and my contributions is being highlighted. So in a way, you are absolutely right. ChatGPT is actually helping the companies, big players to promote. You can't deny that.
So finally, what is the future of AI legislation regarding copyrights? Do you see now that something serious is going to happen, maybe out of these judgments, or perhaps it should be taken by parliaments or legislatures?
Yes, see, China, US, European Union, they have already made task forces. They are into it. They have taken very seriously infringement. In fact, issues like deepfakes. So there is already a task force in place. Government of India, our Honorable Minister of Information Technology had given a statement, I remember, 23rd of November. he gave a very strong statement about about deepfakes and misuse of AI. And I think there was a very interesting program, that Global Partnership Artificial Intelligence, where our Honorable Prime Minister himself had inaugurated and given a very interesting lecture in the opening ceremony. I think government have taken cognizance, and they are actually making into what you can say, a framework, a sort of a guidelines, policies. And a country like India will definitely need it much more than European Union and US, because the diverse nature of our country is so much. So I think we are very hopeful and we are very positive to see some kind of, and actually without those guidelines, we will lead up to some kind of chaos. And government has already taken cognizance of it. We are very positive that things are going to happen very soon.
Professor M.K. Datta, Director of the Amity Center for Artificial Intelligence, thank you very much for joining us. Now, moving on, aiming to bring a lasting peace in India's northeastern state of Assam, the central and the state government of Assam, they have finally signed this long elusive tripartite peace accord with the United Liberation Front of Assam, which is called the ULFA. So this agreement, it's a major step. It's being seen as a major step towards ending the ULFA insurgency there and providing stability for the people of Assam. Let's look at this report.
In presence of Union Home Minister and Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah, a memorandum of settlement was signed between Government of India, Government of Assam and representatives of United Liberation Front of Assam in New Delhi on Friday. On this occasion, Amit Shah said that today is a golden day for Assam when peace is going to be established in Northeast and Assam, which have been bearing the brunt of violence for a long time.
आज मेरे लिए बहुत हर्ष का विषय है कि आज आसाम के भविष्य के लिए एक सुनहरा दिन है। लंबे समय से आसाम ने हिंसा को झेला है। पिछले 5 वर्षों में 9 शांति और सीमा संबंधित समझौते अलग-अलग राज्यों के पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट में हुए हैं। इसके कारण नॉर्थ ईस्ट के एक बड़े हिस्से में शांति की स्थापना हुई।
The Union Home Minister said on record that more than 9,000 cadres have surrendered and the Armed Forces Special Powers Act has been lifted from 85% area for Assam. He also said that under today's agreement, ULFA representatives have agreed to abjure path of violence, lay down all their arms and ammunition and disband their armed organization. ULFA has also agreed to vacate all camps occupied by its armed cadres, engage in the peaceful democratic process established by law and maintain the integrity of the country. He said that Government of India has agreed to provide a huge package and several big projects for all-round development of Assam.
आज ये समस्या का संपूर्ण समाधान हो रहा है, इसका मुझे आनंद है। उल्फा के प्रतिनिधियों से बात कर भारत सरकार के द्वारा एक बहुत बड़ी अमाउंट का पैकेज और इसके साथ-साथ ढेर सारे आसाम के विकास के प्रोजेक्ट को भी हमने स्वीकृति दी है।
Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma and senior officials of the Ministry of Home Affairs and Government of Assam were also present during the signing of the MOU.
असम के लिए और एक ऐतिहासिक दिन है। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का कार्यकाल में गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी का मार्गदर्शन में हमारा असम का जो शांति का प्रक्रिया ये निरंतर चलते रहा। प्रधानमंत्री जी का आशीर्वाद हमारा पास था। आज सक्सेसफुली गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी का देख दिखाव में हमने बोडो एकॉर्ड किया, कार्बी एकॉर्ड किया, आदिवासी एकॉर्ड किया और करीबन 8,756 जो हमारे मिलिटेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जुड़े हुए युवा साथी थे, सारे लोग मेन स्ट्रीम में आ चुका है।
Modi government has signed NLFT agreement in 2019, Bru and Budo in 2020, Karbi in 2021, Adivasi agreement in 2022, Assam Meghalaya border agreement, Assam Arunachal border agreement, an agreement with UNLF in 2023 and today with ULFA. With this agreement, a new era of peace is going to begin for the entire Northeast and especially Assam. Home Minister added that this would not have been possible without Prime Minister Narendra Modi's broader vision of an insurgency-free Northeast.
The Indian government's national outreach initiative called Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra aims to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the Government of India by ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach the targeted beneficiaries. In a series of programs under the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, they were organized this time at Bhutan Kurad village in Fatehbad, which is in the Indian state of Haryana. And the program was attended by the BJP leader Naib Singh Saini, who is a member of parliament from Kurukshetra constituency. In his address, the BJP leader said that the central and state governments, they're working together to ensure the benefits reach the common man. And he said that this yatra, it brings the promise of empowerment and also a brighter future to the doorsteps of the common man. Two protesting students died during a demonstration by Korean language test candidates at Balkumari, Lalitpur in Nepal today. This unrest stems from the Korean government's decision to bar those students who had previously taken the EPS examination from doing so again for applying for vacancies that are still there. This is in manufacturing sectors, sparking discontent among the demonstrators because they wanted to do the exam a second time. This happened in Balkumari in Lalitpur in Nepal. These candidates were not able to pass the language proficiency test the first time for shipbuilding jobs in South Korea. They took to the streets and demanded that they be allowed to reappear for the examinations to join the manufacturing sector. The investigation commission in Nepal has found that the Yeti Airlines aircraft crash that had occurred in Pokhara, Nepal on January 15, 2023 was due to human error. The investigation commission formed after that crash submitted the report with the conclusion that the ATR-72 plane of Yeti Airlines crashed in Pokhara on the 15th of January 2023. Because of human error, it took 8 months and 3 days for the commission to carry out this investigation and prepare the report. A total of 72 passengers, including 5 Indians, died in that crash. Which was the plane crashed into the Seti Gorge while landing at the newly built Pokhara International Airport. The India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement completed 1 year as of Friday, and this historic agreement was signed on the 29th of December last year. This agreement aims to accelerate free trade between the two countries. It has produced pretty good results. The Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Commerce of India, Rajesh Agarwal, said that there has been a growth in exports from both sides and areas where the preferential tariffs were given.
This is one FTA which has actually indicated that the negotiations have been done on comparative advantages, and the preferences or the advantages on which preferences has been given by each side to the other side. Industry has been leveraging that, and there has been some early shoots which indicate that there has been growth in exports from both sides in areas where preferential tariffs were given.
Let's take a look now at other stories making the news. Thousands of devotees gathered for a teaching session held in the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama's area. This happened actually in Bodh Gaya. It was given by him on Friday, and a sea of devotees and the Buddhist monks attended this lecture despite the cold weather. Indian Coast Guard successfully evacuated an Indian passenger with heart ailment from an Italian-flagged cruise liner. The passenger was evacuated approximately 80 nautical miles off the coast of Goa, a state in western India. The government of the Indian state of Gujarat is set to start a submarine service in the ancient city of Dwarka, which is submerged in the Arabian Sea. Now, through this submarine, Dwarka can be seen from 300 feet below. A young individual in India's Srinagar transformed his small backyard into a hydroponic farm, cultivating a diverse range of vegetables without soil. This expertise has allowed him now to harvest most crops within just 45 days. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. Arsenal loses to West Ham. It's 1 year since the legend Pele's passing. And we look back at football in 2023.
Sir, try berry pulao. Too good. Good, no? Hey, why are you giving him such looks? Ignore tips and use your own mind before you order. Lots of people give unsolicited stock tips. It can be dangerous. Study the company and the risk associated. Invest only after analysis.
Soch kar, samajh kar, invest kar.
Do you know there's an investor protection fund for investors, IPF, but if your trade isn't executed on the exchange or if it's some guaranteed return scheme, then even IPF will not be able to help you.
And what if your broker becomes a defaulter? Then?
In that case, IPF can provide you with compensation.
Where did you learn this?
NSE's website.
Soch kar, samajh kar, invest kar.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Let's get you the sports news now. And let's get you the sports news and Arsenal first. So Arsenal missed the chance to go back on top of the Premier League as they succumbed to a shock home defeat to an impressive West Ham side. Goals by Thomas Souček in the 13th minute and the former Arsenal player Konstantinos Mavropanos in the 55th minute combined with a stout defensive play and gave West Ham a win in the Emirates Stadium as Arsenal slumped to their first home loss on Friday. The Brazilian soccer legend Pelé, regarded as perhaps the greatest player of all time, had passed away exactly 1 year ago on December 29, 2022. He was born with the ball at his feet, that's what people say. Pelé's every moment, every pass, every goal was impressive, was special. He impressed his fans with his agility, his technique, and his love for the game. Pelé won the 3 World Cup titles for Brazil, and he scored over 1,000 goals, in fact, 1,283 goals in his professional career. Let's look back at his wonderful life.
One of the most iconic sportsmen in history passed away 1 year ago on December 29, 2022 from cancer at the age of 82. He won 3 World Cup tournaments with Brazil and 10 league titles with Santos, his club team. He also won 1977 North American Soccer League Championship with the New York Cosmos. Having come out of retirement at 34, he spent 3 seasons with the Cosmos on a crusade to popularize soccer in the United States. In his 21-year career, Pelé scored 1,283 goals in 1,367 professional matches, including 77 goals for the Brazilian national team. Many of those goals became legendary, but Pelé's influence on the sport went well beyond scoring. He helped create and promote the beautiful game, a style that valued clever ball control, inventive pinpoint passing, and a voracious appetite for attacking. Pelé not only played it better than anyone, he also championed it around the world. Among his athletic assets was a remarkable center of gravity. Like other sports, soccer has evolved. Today, many of its stars can execute acrobatic shots or rapid-fire passing sequences. But in his day, Pelé's playmaking and scoring skills were stunning. After retiring from playing, Pelé became an ambassador for the sport, touring the global meeting Nelson Mandela, Bill Clinton and soccer legends including Diego Maradona, Johan Cruyff and Franz Beckenbauer.
Well, a lot rolled out of the year 2023 in the world of football, or soccer as some people call it, from Manchester City completing the coveted treble to Spain winning the FIFA Women's World Cup to Messi bagging the top honours once again. Let's take a look at what happened in the world of football.
Lionel Messi and Aitana Bombati back top honors of world football with the 2023 Ballon d'Or honors. Messi takes home the award as the best football player of the season for a record-extending 8th time after leading Argentina to their first World Cup title since 1986. Bonmati won the Women's World Cup 2023 with Spain and also won the Golden Ball award in the tournament. She won the La Liga title with Barcelona last season, along with the Women's Champions League, where she was Player of the Season. Manchester City bagged the Men's Club of the Year award. It won the coveted treble last season, the Premier League, the FA Cup and the UEFA Champions League crown. City has won the award for the second time on the trot. Striker Erling Haaland, with 56 goals for City and Norway, wins the Gerd Müller Trophy for scoring the most number of goals in all competitions. FC Barcelona wins the Women's Club of the Year award. Last season, it won the La Liga for the 8th time and the Champions League title for the 2nd time. Indian football had its moments under the sun. They won the SAF Cup, getting the better of Kuwait. They won the Under-16 and Under-19 SAF Championships and followed it up by qualifying for the 2024 AFC Asian Cup. This year has seen many ups and downs for world football. The Premier League may have topped the charts for the biggest individual fees paid for footballers in 2023. But some of the biggest names in the game moved from Europe to uncharted territories in the Middle East and North America. Saudi Arabia's entry to the big-name transfer began with a move that brought Cristiano Ronaldo to the Middle East and opened the door for movers and shakers to deep dive. While Lionel Messi made a shock hop across the Atlantic to the United States.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us then on Facebook, on X, on Instagram. We'll be back with more news here on DD News. I beg your pardon, on DD India. My name is Mark Lynn. From all of us here, thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.